The worst part about being forgotten is pretending it doesn't hurt. I stared at my phone, reading the text from my mother for the 10th time. Kylie, darling. There seems to have been a mix-up with Stuart's wedding invitations. I'm sure yours just got lost in the mail. Lost in the mail. Right. My name is Kylie, and I've spent 29 years being the family's afterthought. The forgotten daughter, the invisible sister, the one who's never quite good enough. You'd think I'd be used to it by now. My phone buzzed again. Andrea's name flashed across the screen. Have you heard from them yet? She asked when I picked up. Oh yeah, I laughed, but it came out hollow. Apparently, my invitation got lost in the mail. 6 weeks before the wedding. Are you kidding me? That's the excuse they're going with. I got up from my couch and started pacing. Mum just called too. Want to hear the best part? Hit me. She said, and I quote, Lucille's been so stressed about the seating arrangements. Maybe this is for the best, sweetie. You know how particular she is about everything being perfect. Perfect? Andrea's voice rose. Perfect for who? That stuck-up princess and your golden boy brother. The doorbell rang, making me jump. Through the peephole, I saw Stuart standing there in his perfectly pressed suit, looking impatient. Hold on, I whispered to Andrea. Speaking of the devil. I opened the door, phone still pressed to my ear. Stuart breezed past me without waiting for an invitation, his cologne leaving a wake of expensive sophistication. I'll call you back, I told Andrea, ending the call. Mother said you're upset, Stuart announced, inspecting my apartment with his usual air of mild disapproval. Upset? Why would I be upset that my only brother didn't invite me to his wedding? He sighed, straightening his already straight tie. Don't be dramatic, Kylie. Of course you were invited. The invitation must have gotten lost. In the mail. Yeah, I heard. I crossed my arms. Funny how that keeps happening. Like my college graduation party invitations, or my housewarming. That was different. How? How was it different, Stuart? He checked his watch, already done with the conversation. Look, Lucille has a very specific vision for the wedding. It's going to be the social event of the season. We can't risk any complications. Complications? My voice cracked. Is that what I am to you? You know what I mean. Remember Thomas and Sarah's wedding? When you showed up with that woman? My girlfriend. Her name was Rachel. Whatever. He waved his hand dismissively. The point is, you caused quite a stir. Mother was mortified. I felt my cheeks burn. That was 5 years ago. And I caused a stir by bringing my date to a wedding. Lucille's family is very traditional. We need to maintain certain appearances. The words hit like slaps. Each one carefully chosen to remind me that I didn't fit their perfect picture. Get out, I whispered. Don't be childish. Get out. He straightened his jacket, looking down at me with that familiar mixture of pity and disappointment. Mother wanted me to smooth things over. I tried. But you're being impossible as usual. As he reached the door, he paused. Oh, and Kylie. Please don't make a scene about this. It's Lucille's special day. The door clicked shut behind him, and I stood there, trembling with anger and hurt. My phone buzzed again. Another text from my mother. Stuart said you're being difficult. Please don't ruin this for your brother. You know how important this is for the family. Important for the family. The family that consistently pushed me to the margins, that treated my life, my choices, my very existence as an inconvenience to their carefully curated image. I called Andrea back. You won't believe what just happened, I said when she answered. What did that pompous ass want? To remind me that I'm a complication. I took a deep breath. Andrea, remember when you said I should stop letting them walk all over me? Yeah? I think it's time. My voice steadied as determination replaced hurt. I'm done being the family disappointment. If they want to exclude me, fine. But they're about to learn that I can do more than just cause a stir. What are you thinking? I smiled, an idea taking shape. How much do you know about wedding planning? Not much, she said slowly. But I'm guessing we're about to learn. Oh yes, I replied, already pulling up my laptop. We're about to learn everything there is to know about Stuart and Lucille's perfect day. You're going to need this, Andrea said, sliding a glass of wine across my kitchen counter. I just got off the phone with my cousin who works at the Grand Plaza Hotel. I took a long sip. And? Lucille specifically asked about you when booking the venue. She wanted to make sure you weren't on any pre-approved guest lists from previous family events. The wine turned bitter in my mouth. So it wasn't lost in the mail at all? Not even close. Andrea pulled out her phone. The wedding's costing close to $200,000. Your dear brother and his bride have booked every premium service the hotel offers. I let out a low whistle. Dad must be thrilled about that. Here's the interesting part. Andrea leaned forward, her eyes sparkling. All the vendors are being coordinated through one person, Jessica, at Elite Events. And guess who used to be my roommate in college? A slow smile spread across my face. Jessica from the sorority. The very same. She owes me a few favours. Andrea's fingers flew across her phone screen. Want to grab coffee with her tomorrow? You're evil. I love it. The next morning, we met Jessica at a quiet cafe downtown. She looked exactly as I remembered. Perfectly polished, tablet in hand, radiating efficiency. I shouldn't be showing you this, Jessica said, sliding her tablet across the table. But after what Andrea told me, well, look at the email Lucille sent me last month. I read the message, my hands shaking slightly. Jessica, I need to ensure certain people don't interfere with our special day. Stuart's sister has a history of inappropriate behaviour. Please make sure she's not included in any arrangements. The family will handle any awkward questions. Inappropriate behaviour? Andrea scoffed. You volunteer at animal shelters and teach art to kids on weekends. But I also date women and don't fit their country club image, I replied, still staring at the email. Jessica, how much flexibility do you have with the vendors? She raised an eyebrow. What did you have in mind? Those vendors are expecting a big payday, right? What if they got an even better offer? Kylie? Jessica glanced around nervously. What are you suggesting? I pulled out my own tablet. I've been saving for years, originally for a down payment on a house, but... I turned the screen toward them, showing my bank balance. Andrea's eyes widened. Holy shit! That's substantial, Jessica said carefully. But redirecting vendors could cost me my job. What if it wasn't you? I asked. What if someone else made them a better offer? Someone who happened to know exactly what services were being provided and when. Jessica sat back, a slow smile spreading across her face. You know, I've been thinking about starting my own event planning business. This industry can be so cutthroat. Would be a shame if someone outbid your current employer, Andrea added innocently. A real shame, Jessica agreed. She pulled her tablet back, fingers flying across the screen. Hypothetically, if someone wanted to contact these vendors directly, here's their information. And hypothetically, if someone offered them a 20% premium over their current contracts. My phone buzzed. Mum again. Kylie, Lucille's mother called. She's concerned you might try to cause problems. Please don't embarrass us. I showed the message to Andrea and Jessica. Oh, it's personal now, Andrea declared. Very personal, I agreed, then turned to Jessica. One more thing. Do you know any charities that could use a significant donation and some publicity? Jessica's eyes lit up. Actually, I'm on the board of a children's hospital foundation. They're trying to fund a new cancer treatment wing. Perfect. I finished my coffee. Send me everything. And Jessica? Thank you. Don't thank me, she replied, gathering her things. I was never here. But, she paused, I've seen how Lucille treats her vendors. Let's just say karma's been a long time coming. After Jessica left, Andrea grabbed my arm. Are you sure about this? It's a lot of money. You know what's funny? I said, watching people pass by outside the cafe window. I've spent my whole life trying to earn their approval, saving money to prove I could be as successful as Stuart. But now? I pulled up the children's hospital website on my phone. I can think of better ways to use it. My phone buzzed again. A text from Alec, a family friend. Just heard about the wedding drama. For what it's worth, I think they're being awful. Let me know if you need anything. I showed Andrea the message. Looks like not everyone's on their side. Good, she said firmly. Because after tomorrow there's no going back. I nodded, already drafting emails to the vendors. No going back, I agreed. Just forward, straight through their perfect day. The florist is in, I whispered to Andrea, as we pretended to browse dresses at Bella's bridal. Through the boutique's window, I could see Lucille arriving for her final fitting. How many is that now? Andrea adjusted a price tag, wincing at the number. 4. The florist, the caterer, the band, and the cake designer. I ducked behind a rack of veils as Lucille swept past. They all jumped at the chance to do a charity event instead, especially with the bonus I offered. Mrs. King, the boutique owner's voice carried across the store, and the beautiful bride. Come, come, we have everything ready. I peeked through the dresses, watching my mother fuss over Lucille's train. The sight made my stomach twist. Kylie, Andrea hissed. We should go before... Wait! I held up my hand. Listen. Lucille's voice drifted over. I just feel so terrible about Kylie's invitation getting lost. But maybe it's for the best. I mean, after what happened at the engagement party... What happened at the engagement party? I whispered to Andrea. Nothing. You weren't even invited to that either. My mother's response made my blood boil. You're right, dear. Kylie can be unpredictable. Stuart was wise to handle it this way. A saleswoman approached us. Can I help you find anything? No, we're just... Kylie. A familiar voice cut through the store. Is that you? I turned to find Maria, the cake designer I'd met with yesterday, standing there with a portfolio. My heart stopped. You know each other? The saleswoman asked. Maria's eyes widened slightly as she caught my panic. She glanced at Lucille, then back to me. Oh, from the charity event I'm working on. Kylie's organising a wonderful fundraiser for the Children's Hospital. How lovely! The saleswoman exclaimed. When is it? The same day as my wedding, Lucille cut in, suddenly appearing beside us in her massive white gown. Isn't that right, Kylie? The boutique fell silent. I could feel every eye on me. Is it? I met her gaze steadily. I wouldn't know the date of your wedding, would I? My invitation got lost in the mail. Lucille's perfect smile tightened. Such an unfortunate mistake. But you understand why we couldn't change all our arrangements just to accommodate you. Of course. I smiled back just as tightly. Just like you understand why I made other plans. Ladies, my mother interrupted, anxiety clear in her voice. Perhaps we should... Tell me about this charity event, Lucille pressed, ignoring her. It must be quite something to book Maria. She's one of the most sought-after cake designers in the city. It is quite something, I agreed. Amazing how many people want to support a good cause. Maria clutched her portfolio closer. I should really get back to the kitchen. Kylie, I'll email you those design options we discussed. After she hurried away, Lucille's smile turned predatory. Interesting coincidence. Booking the same vendors we did. Is it? I hadn't noticed. Kylie, my mother warned. No, it's fine, Lucille said smoothly. I'm sure it's all just a misunderstanding. Just like I'm sure Kylie wouldn't do anything to overshadow our special day. Would you, dear? The way she said dear made my skin crawl. Andrea stepped closer to me, protective. Wouldn't dream of it, I replied. Now, if you'll excuse us, we have a meeting with the Children's Hospital Board. Lots of arrangements to make, you understand. As we turned to leave, Lucille called out, Oh, and Kylie, do give my best to Jessica at Elite Events. She's been so helpful with everything. I froze. Andrea grabbed my arm, steering me toward the door. Don't, she muttered. Not here. Outside, I leaned against the building, breathing hard. She knows. She suspects, Andrea corrected. But she can't prove anything. And by the time she does... My phone pinged with a text from Jessica. Lucille just called. She's demanding vendor confirmations. What should I do? Tell her everything's fine, I typed back. Show her whatever she wants to see. Another text arrived, this one from Alec. Heard about the charity event. Need a photographer? I'd love to help. I showed Andrea the message. Think we can trust him? At this point, what do we have to lose? I looked back through the boutique window. Lucille was preening in front of the mirrors while my mother hovered anxiously. The perfect bride. The perfect wedding. The perfect family image. Nothing, I said finally. We have nothing to lose and everything to prove. I texted Alec back. Meet me for coffee tomorrow. I'll tell you everything. Andrea squeezed my shoulder. No turning back now. No, I agreed, watching Lucille twirl in her wedding dress. Now we just watch it all unfold. I don't know if I can do this anymore, I told Alec over coffee. Maybe I'm taking it too far. He lowered his camera, having just shown me samples of his work. What brought this on? Stuart called last night. He actually sounded vulnerable. I stirred my latte absently. Said Dad's been pressuring him about the wedding costs, called it keeping up appearances. And that makes you feel guilty. It makes me wonder if I'm any better than them. Alec leaned forward. Let me tell you what I saw at their engagement party. The one you weren't invited to. I'm listening. Stuart spent the whole night looking miserable. Every time Lucille's family made some snide comment about modern lifestyles, he just nodded along. When your mom started apologising for her unconventional daughter, he stood there silent. My hand tightened around my cup. He could have defended me. Exactly. But he didn't. Neither did your parents. Alec pulled out his phone. Watch this. The video showed Lucille addressing their engagement party guests. We're so blessed to have the perfect family coming together. Well, almost perfect. Laughter rippled through the crowd. But we all make choices, don't we? When was this? Right after your mum mentioned you were teaching art to underprivileged kids. Lucille turned it into a joke about alternative careers. My phone buzzed. Andrea sending updates about the vendors. But before I could check it, Stuart himself walked into the coffee shop. Hide the phone, Alec whispered, smoothly sliding his camera away. Stuart spotted us and frowned. Kylie, what are you doing here? Having coffee. It's a coffee shop. With Alec? His eyes narrowed. Our family's photographer. Former photographer, Alec corrected. I'm branching out. Stuart pulled up a chair uninvited. Look, Kylie, we need to talk about this charity event of yours. What about it? Lucille's upset. She thinks you're trying to steal attention from our wedding. Imagine that, I said flatly. Being upset about someone stealing attention. This isn't a joke. Dad's already stressed about the wedding costs, and now Mother's worried you'll embarrass us again. Again? Alec interjected. When has Kylie ever... Stay out of this, Stuart snapped. Then his voice softened. Kylie, please. Just postpone your event. Do it the following weekend. Why? I met his eyes. Because it might make people talk. Because it might make the family look bad. Because it's my wedding day. It's just another day you didn't want me to be part of. Stuart ran his hands through his hair, a gesture so familiar it hurt. You don't understand the pressure I'm under. Lucille's family, their expectations. No, you don't understand, I cut in. While you've been worried about appearances, I've been living my life. Real life, Stuart. With real people who accept me as I am. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Jessica. Emergency. Lucille's asking questions about the vendor contracts. Need to talk ASAP. Stuart noticed my expression. What's wrong? Nothing, I said quickly. Just work. He stood up, straightening his suit. Whatever you're planning, think about what it'll do to the family, to Mum and Dad. After he left, Alec whistled low. Well, that was intense. Wait, I said, staring at my phone. A new message had popped up. From my father's accountant, Robert, who I'd known since childhood. He'd sent a single line. You should know. Your brother's been embezzling from your father's company. Oh my God! I showed Alec the message. That explains the stress about wedding costs, he said. What are you going to do? I thought about Stuart's plea, about family loyalty, about keeping up appearances. Then I thought about years of exclusion, of silent dinners, of lost invitations. I'm going to make a call, I said, standing up. The Children's Hospital Board should know they're about to receive an even larger donation than planned. Kylie. He stole from Dad, Alec. While they were all busy worrying about how I might embarrass them, he was stealing from our father. My phone buzzed again. Andrea. Vendors all confirmed for the switch. No going back now. Good, I typed back. Because I just found out why my brother's so desperate to keep up appearances. I looked at Alec. Still want to photograph my event? He picked up his camera, smiling. Wouldn't miss it for the world. As we left the coffee shop, I spotted Stuart through the window of his parked car, arguing with someone on the phone. His perfect image was already cracking. Soon, it would shatter completely. And for the first time since this all began, I felt absolutely certain about what I was doing. The string quartet just confirmed the switch, Andrea announced, bursting into my apartment. And you won't believe who their original booking was through. I looked up from my laptop where I'd been reviewing the hospital donation paperwork. Who? Your mother. She's been secretly coordinating half the vendors behind Lucille's back because she thinks they're not elegant enough. I laughed despite myself. Of course she has. But here's the real kicker. Andrea dropped onto my couch. Remember how I've been helping at the children's hospital? Yeah? I never told you why. She took a deep breath. My little sister was treated there before she died. The same wing we're helping fund. That's where she spent her last months. Andrea, I sat beside her. Why didn't you tell me? Because I wanted this to be about you standing up for yourself, not about my past. She wiped her eyes. But when you mentioned the hospital, it felt like, I don't know, like fate or something. A knock at the door interrupted us. Through the peephole, I saw my mother. Hide everything, I whispered to Andrea, who quickly swept the paperwork into her bag. I opened the door. Mum? She brushed past me, perfectly coiffed as always. We need to talk about this ridiculous charity event. Good to see you too, Mum. Don't be smart, Kylie. Do you have any idea what you're doing to your brother? To this family? Andrea stood up. I'll give you some privacy. No, stay, my mother said sharply, since you're clearly encouraging this behaviour. Mum! What? Am I wrong? First you turned my daughter into some kind of rebel, and now I turned myself into someone who stands up for what's right, I interrupted. And Andrea's been more family to me than any of you. My mother sank into an armchair. Why are you doing this? Is it attention you want? Money? Because if that's it, it's not about money. I thought about Robert's message about Stuart's embezzlement. Though that's an interesting topic. Something flickered across her face. What does that mean? Nothing. I smiled. Just thinking about family loyalty, about keeping secrets. She stood abruptly. Whatever you're planning, stop it. Now, before things get out of hand. Like they did at the country club last year, I asked innocently, when Stuart had to borrow money from Dad's company to cover his gambling debts. My mother went pale. How did you? I have friends too, Mum. Friends who notice things, like where money goes, or doesn't go. You're blackmailing us? No, I said firmly. I'm done playing family games. I'm doing something good, something meaningful. If that overshadows Stuart's perfect wedding, maybe ask yourself why that bothers you so much. Your father will be devastated. By my charity event? Or by learning what his perfect son's been doing? She moved to the door, then paused. You know, I always thought your differences were the biggest threat to this family. I never imagined you'd be cruel. Cruel? Andrea spoke up. Like excluding your daughter from family events? Like letting your son steal from his own father? Stay out of this! No, I said, standing between them. She stays. She's my family now. The kind that doesn't need lies or perfect appearances or stolen money to stick together. My mother's hand trembled on the doorknob. You'll regret this. After she left, Andrea hugged me tight. You okay? My phone buzzed, a text from Alec. Just got hired as your brother's wedding photographer. Lucille's regular guy dropped out. Want me to keep an eye on things? Perfect, I texted back. Another message popped up, this one from Robert. Your father's starting to ask questions about the accounts. What do you want me to do? I showed Andrea both messages. Think we should tell Dad everything? Not yet, she said thoughtfully. Let them sweat a little longer. Besides, she pulled out the hospital paperwork again. We have a charity event to finish planning. I nodded, looking at the guest list we'd compiled. Prominent community members, local media, hospital board members, people who could make a real difference. You know what the best part is? I said, adding another name to the list. They're so worried about appearances, they won't dare try to stop this. Not without exposing everything. Karma's a beautiful thing, Andrea agreed. My phone buzzed one final time. Jessica. Lucille's getting suspicious about the vendor contracts. She's called an emergency meeting for tomorrow. I thought about my mother's pale face, about Stuart's desperation, about Lucille's perfect wedding slowly unravelling. Let her meet, I typed back. It's too late to stop it now. 3 days until the wedding. 3 days until everything changed. And for once, I couldn't wait for my family to see me clearly. They're starting to arrive, Alec texted, sending a photo of guests filing into the church. Your brother looks like he's about to throw up. I sat in my parked car across the street, watching the scene unfold. Andrea squeezed my hand. Ready? Almost. I checked my phone again. The children's hospital director had just confirmed everything was set up at their venue. The same place where Stuart and Lucille's reception was supposed to be. Kylie, Andrea pointed. Look! My father was helping my mother up the church steps. She kept glancing around nervously, probably hoping I wouldn't show up to make a scene. Your dad really has no idea, does he? Andrea asked softly. None. I watched him straighten his tie, smiling at Guess. He thinks everything's perfect. My phone rang, Lucille's number. After 4 rings, I answered. Where are they? Her voice was sharp, controlled panic evident beneath the surface. Where are what? Don't play games. The reception hall is empty. No flowers, no catering, no music set up, nothing. I checked my watch. Oh, that's strange. Have you called Elite Events? Jessica's not answering. None of the vendors are answering. She lowered her voice. I know this is you. I know you did something. Me? I'm just planning a charity event, remember? Listen, you little... She cut off as someone approached her. I could hear Stuart's voice in the background. Everything okay, honey? Fine, she said tightly. Everything's fine. I hung up as Alex sent another text. Lucille's mother just arrived. She's asking about the reception details. Showtime, Andrea said. I started the car. Let's go check on our event. At the Children's Hospital venue, the same luxury hotel where Stuart's reception was supposed to be, everything was perfect. Flowers filled the grand ballroom, tables were elegantly set, and the string quartet was warming up. The hospital director, Dr. Sarah, rushed over. Kylie, the media's already here. They're so excited about the donation. How much did you end up raising? Andrea asked. With Kylie's contribution and the match donations, Dr. Sarah beamed. Enough to fund the entire new wing. My phone buzzed continuously. Messages from my mother, from Stuart, from Lucille. I ignored them all. Alex says the ceremony's ending, Andrea reported, checking her own phone. Should we expect company? Oh, they'll come, I said. They have to. All their guests are about to show up here. Right on cue, my phone rang. My father. Hi, Dad. Kylie, what's going on? The reception venue? They're saying everything was redirected to some charity event. That's right. A pause. Why would you do this? Why don't you ask Stuart about the company accounts? About where your money's really been going? Silence then. What are you talking about? Check your email, Dad. Robert sent you everything an hour ago. Bank statements, transfers, all of it. I could hear him breathing, processing. Is this true? Yes. And maybe next time you want to talk about family loyalty, remember who actually betrayed it. More silence. Then, where are you? At the Grand Plaza Hotel, where Stuart's reception was supposed to be. Come see what your money's really funding instead. I hung up as the first of Stuart's confused wedding guests began arriving. They found not a wedding reception, but a charity gala in full swing, with local news cameras capturing everything. Kylie! Lucille's voice cut through the crowd. She stood in the doorway, still in her wedding dress, Stuart beside her, looking ashen. My parents were right behind them. Welcome to the Children's Hospital benefit, I said loudly, clearly. Since you're all dressed up anyway, why not support a good cause? You ruined everything, Lucille seethed, stepping forward. No! My father's voice rang out. Stuart did that. He held up his phone, displaying Robert's email. Want to explain this, son? Stuart's face went from white to green. Dad, I can explain. The same way you can explain excluding your sister? Or lying to me about where my money was going? My father's voice shook. I trusted you. Guests were staring now, whispers spreading through the crowd. Lucille backed away from Stuart, her perfect day crumbling around her. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Sarah called out, taking control of the situation. Welcome to our fundraiser. Please enjoy the celebration. Your presence here today will help save children's lives. As the crowd slowly dispersed into the venue, I caught my mother's eye. For the first time in my life, she looked at me not with disappointment, but with something like respect. And suddenly, standing there amid the chaos I'd created, I felt more like family than I ever had before. How dare you! Lucille advanced toward me, her wedding dress rustling. This was supposed to be my perfect day. Perfect. I looked around the transformed ballroom. I'd say it's better than perfect. We've already raised over $500,000 for sick children. You planned this all along, Stuart accused, his face still ashen. The lost invitation, the charity event, lost invitation, my father interrupted. What lost invitation? Andrea stepped forward. They deliberately excluded Kylie from the wedding, just like they've excluded her from everything else. Is this true? My father turned to my mother, who couldn't meet his eyes. We thought it would be simpler, she whispered. Simpler? He looked around at the gathered crowd, the news cameras, the hospital staff. Like how Stuart made our money disappear? Was that simpler too? Lucille whirled on Stuart. What is he talking about? I can explain, Stuart started. But Dr. Sarah chose that moment to approach with a news reporter. Kylie, would you like to say a few words about your generous donation? The cameras are ready. Don't you dare! Lucille hissed. I smiled directly at her. Actually, I'd love to. I turned to the reporter. This event is dedicated to my family. They taught me everything about the importance of appearances, about keeping up with expectations. So when I discovered my brother had been embezzling from our father's company to fund his lavish lifestyle, I knew exactly what to do with my savings. The reporter's eyes widened. Stuart lunged forward, but my father caught his arm. Not here, he warned. You've done enough damage. I'd like to thank all the wedding guests for coming, I continued into the microphone. Your presence here today will help build a new cancer treatment wing for children who need it most. Sometimes the best celebrations aren't about perfect dresses or fancy receptions. Sometimes they're about doing what's right. Applause broke out across the ballroom. I caught Alex snapping photos of everything. Stuart's crumbling expression, Lucille's fury, my mother's dawning realization. You've ruined us, Lucille spat, yanking off her veil. All our friends, our family. No, my father cut in. You and Stuart did that yourselves. He turned to the crowd. As the unknowing sponsor of what was supposed to be today's wedding, I'm proud to redirect those funds to this worthy cause. And to my daughter Kylie, I'm sorry. I've been blind for too long. More applause. Andrea squeezed my hand as tears threatened. Dad, Stuart pleaded. Please. The police will be here soon, my father said quietly. I've already called them. Lucille backed away from Stuart. The police? What exactly did you do? What he always does, I answered. Whatever it takes to keep up appearances, right, brother? Stuart's face contorted. You self-righteous little. He started toward me, but Alex stepped between us. Smile for the camera, Alex said, snapping a photo of Stuart's rage. The ballroom doors opened again. 2 police officers entered, followed by Robert clutching a folder of documents. Mr. King, one officer asked my father, we need to speak with your son. As they led Stuart away, Lucille turned to my mother. Do something. But my mother was watching me, really seeing me perhaps for the first time. I think enough has been done, she said softly, by all of us. Dr. Sarah clinked a glass, drawing everyone's attention. If I could have your attention, please. We'd like to unveil the name of our new treatment wing. She pulled a cord, revealing a placard. The King Family Healing Centre, where every child matters. I hope you don't mind, she said to my father. Kylie insisted the donation be in the family name. My father's eyes welled up. It's perfect. Perfect? Lucille laughed hysterically. This is what you call perfect? My wedding is ruined, my fiancé is being arrested, and you're all acting like she's some kind of hero. Not a hero, Andrea said. Just someone who finally stood up to bullies. Lucille stormed out, her wedding dress trailing behind her. Through the windows, we could see Stuart being placed in a police car. Kylie? My mother touched my arm. I don't know what to say. Don't say anything, I replied. Just do better. We all can. The string quartet began to play. Hospital staff mingled with wedding guests. Somewhere in the crowd, I heard Alec explaining to the reporter how he'd documented everything. Was it worth it? Andrea asked quietly. Using your house savings like this? I watched my father talking animatedly with Dr. Sarah about the new wing's plans. Watched my mother finally speaking up to defend me to Lucille's shocked parents. Look around, I said. Some things are worth more than houses. The afternoon sun streamed through the windows, catching the donation total displayed on the giant screen. $527,000 and climbing. Perfect. Ready? Andrea held open the door to the children's hospital. Almost as ready as I was for Stuart's sentencing last week, I replied, following her inside. The new wing gleamed with fresh paint and possibility. Dr. Sarah met us in the lobby, beaming. The first patients move in tomorrow. Want to see what your revenge built? As we toured the facility, my phone buzzed. A message from my mother. Are you still coming to dinner tonight? I made your favourite lasagna. She's really trying, isn't she? Andrea peeked at the message. Baby steps. I typed back a quick yes. We passed a playroom filled with art supplies, my personal addition to the wing's design. Through the window, I could see Alec setting up photography equipment. What's he doing here? I asked Dr. Sarah. Documenting everything for the hospital newsletter. His photos from the fundraiser made quite an impression on our board. My phone buzzed again. Lucille. I know you won't believe me, but thank you. Finding out who Stuart really was before the marriage. Well, just thank you. Speaking of impressions, Andrea nodded toward the message. That's unexpected. We reached the final room, a sunny corner space with a perfect view of the city. A small plaque beside the door caught my eye. The Rachel Memorial Room. I turned to Andrea. Rachel? As in, your ex-girlfriend Rachel, she confirmed. The one they wouldn't let you bring to Thomas and Sarah's wedding. Her sister was treated here before she passed away. When I found out, I asked Dr. Sarah if we could name a room in her honour. Why didn't you tell me? Because you needed to do this for yourself, not for anyone else. But now, she gestured around. Look what your strength built. My father's voice came from behind us. She's right, you know. I spun around. Dad? What are you doing here? Robert and I just finished setting up the hospital's new financial oversight committee. He looked around the room. Seems fitting, doesn't it? Using money to heal instead of hide. Dr. Sarah excused herself, leaving us alone. Have you heard from Stuart? I asked. His lawyer says he's accepting the plea deal. Dad straightened a picture on the wall, a child's drawing of a rainbow. 3 years plus restitution. Your mother's taking it hard. And you? I'm proud of you, he said simply. It took losing one child to make me see the one I'd been overlooking all along. Andrea wiped her eyes. I should go help Alec with the equipment. After she left, my father turned to me. About the house you were saving for. Dad, don't... Let me finish. Your mother and I want you to have the lake house, the one you loved as a kid. I stared at him. But that's your retirement plan. Plans change. People change. He smiled. Sometimes it takes a spectacular act of revenge to make them see clearly. My phone buzzed again. A message from Jessica. Elite Events is officially mine now. The old company couldn't survive the scandal. Having lunch with Lucille next week. Turns out she's actually decent when she's not trying to be perfect. Karma's funny that way. I showed Dad the message. Speaking of karma, he pulled out his phone, showing me a local news article. Local wedding scandal leads to record-breaking hospital fundraiser. They're still writing about it. People love a good redemption story, even if it comes with a side of revenge. Through the window, I could see Andrea directing Alec as he photographed children's artwork being hung in the hallway. My phone lit up with another text from my mother, this one with a photo of her infamous lasagna. You know what the best revenge turned out to be? I asked Dad. What's that? Finally being seen. Really seen. He hugged me, something he hadn't done in years. I see you now. We all do. My phone buzzed one final time. A message from Dr. Sarah to all donors. First patient arrives tomorrow. 7-year-old girl, responding well to treatment. Your generosity made this possible. I looked around the room that bore Rachel's name, thought about all the children who would find healing here, about Andrea's sister, about family, both born and chosen. Ready for dinner? Dad asked. Your mother's probably already setting the table. Actually, I smiled, I have a better idea. Why don't we bring dinner here tomorrow? Welcome the first patient together? He nodded, understanding. Perfect. And it was perfect, not in the way Stuart and Lucille had planned their wedding to be, but in the way that truth, justice, and real love eventually find their way to the surface. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying something. Sometimes it's about building something better in its place.